Hello, everyone. My name is Gabriel Ellis. I'm a psychotherapist and a Buddhist scholar. And today I introduce a new client for my therapy recording series. She is in her early 40s. Her family has a migration history and herself as well. She is currently living in Western Europe and is single. And with that, I would like to welcome Hanni. This is what we agreed to call you. Hello, Hanni.
Hi.
So we had a very brief getting to know each other conversation before, and you touched upon several topics. Um, as we discussed, we have a framework of 3 sessions, and because it was not very clear at the time what your topic would be, but still you would like to explore a couple of things. It was my assumption that we would use this first session not to already narrow down, but rather to explore and see what comes up as a possible priority for the 2 sessions ahead of us. So why don't you start to describe in a free form what you think would be of value to you, in which direction to go, or where the pressure lies.
Hmm. Um, I think what's coming up for me now, I guess there's there is so many, I think, underlying topics, and I know that it takes more time to kind of go through all of that, and think I'm trying to kind of focus on what's maybe coming up for me now. And I think one of like the main things that has been an ongoing issue, but I don't like that word, so situation, I guess, is that I haven't had a very I guess a stable kind of network for a very long time. I would even say as a child, it was in my household. I don't think that I was ever very much felt there was like a very positive or helpful, supportive, I guess, environment. And I think this has been something that's kind of been ongoing in my life, where I tend to try to find a network support system, either in trying to make good friends or partners, and either the friendships don't last, or whatever reason they drift apart, or because also I've moved, and or the relationships don't last. And I think that I kind of go through these waves of feeling very lonely and sad. And as we spoke before, I brought up the point that sometimes I wonder what really I'm doing here.
Yes.
And what is the point of me being, I guess, on earth. It just sounds so extreme, but I guess it's how I sometimes feel like I don't have a purpose. And I think that maybe one of these things is that I just feel like I'm constantly floating. And I think this is one of these topics would be because of this, because I don't really have like this support system or a tribe, maybe I can use the word. And I haven't talked to my parents in a very long time, cut communication with them for about maybe, say 10 years. So it's kind of, I guess if it's something that they need to speak to me about, they will contact me, but it's like not very often. And it's just about that. And then once that conversation is done, it's kind of, that's it. So it's, I feel very alone. I just feel like I don't really know how to form this kind of network, and I feel like I try, but it just doesn't seem to stay. I don't know, and I think maybe this is one thing that's coming up is because of the recent um, ending to my relationship. So
Hmm.
maybe now it's becoming more, I guess, obvious, or I don't know. So
Let me ask you, when you're missing your tribe, your people, group of friends, and network, when you look back, do you feel that you rather came across the wrong people and you just don't click, or do you feel that you somehow mess it up? What
mm,
seems to be the pattern that emerges?
oh, mm, I think the pattern may be that I don't feel that I click with a lot of people.
Hmm.
And mm, I think that's definitely one part of it. I think the other part is that I've held on to some of the maybe negative kind of patterns of my upbringing of being very judgmental and I think critical. And
Hmm.
I think that maybe sometimes I have a hard time distinguishing between letting people just be or it being something like, no, they've actually, what they did was not okay. And
Yes.
so my kind of, I think that sometimes I struggle between these two. And maybe sometimes I have cut things off short in like a friendship because I didn't quite see what they've done or that whatever happened in the situation was correct.
Hmm.
And instead of maybe trying to understand them as a person or I mean human, and we all make mistakes and errors, and um, or sometimes letting things go maybe too long when they aren't being the best, not the best, they aren't being someone positive in my life or helpful, or
Hmm.
I think that sometimes I do go between these two lines where I'm a bit confused.
Yes.
um so maybe, yeah, of course I probably have cut things off too shortly, or also let things run too long, or it is also that I don't feel that I click so much with
Yes.
people,
So,
or I click with them in one, maybe like, sorry to cut you off, Mary, but maybe in some more superficial level, which is okay. I mean, I think it's
hmm.
nice to have friends that are you can just go out and have a nice time with, but I think it's also mm, on the other more deeper level. I think in that sense, I miss that connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
So from what you say, I partly already understand the frustration there because when it comes to relationships, we are always stuck in between two extremes. One extreme is I take care of myself too much,
Mm-hmm.
which is someone is not nice to me or has a bad day, and I take it too personally, right? And I got too much into self-protection mode, and I tell
Mm-hmm.
myself I don't need this in my life. This is too negative for me, and then I cut somebody off. And the other extreme is that I I'm suffering from the loneliness too much, and then I accept actions and words from people that I shouldn't, and I
Mm-hmm.
let that go on for too long. Um, and we are stuck in between those two. All of us are. Um, but I understand that it just didn't manifest into a few satisfying relationships. This is what hopefully we get out of kind of finding our formula, so to speak, that
Mm-hmm.
out of the dozens of people that surround us, kind of we sieve through and two, three remain. And that is what keeps us afloat. The two, three
Mm-hmm.
people that we can relate to, where we recharge more than we waste energy, where afterwards we feel comfortable, where while seeing them we don't feel that we have to wear a mask too much, where we get each other, and so on. Is it possible that it was uh, just bad luck so far for you, or do you feel that there is a lack of skill and understanding what you want yourself, what kind of people, and to maintain connections that have the promise to be good?
I don't know. I think it's been a bit of both. I
Hmm,
can't really say it's been, yeah,
I see.
yeah.
What do you do when you approach people now, when there seems to be, glimmer of a possibility that it could develop into a friendship? How do you approach it? With which feelings, with which attitude?
I think like I'm a fairly positive and happy person, and I think it's easy for me to make, like, as I mentioned, more superficial friends,
Hmm.
like people that I see here and there, or we just, um, and that I think that is okay for me, but I think that I have, like, it gets to a point, I think, in the friendship where I then don't know how to move forward with it, like
Hmm.
to maybe make it something more, um, I don't know, just less superficial, I guess, just try to make it a real friendship in some
Yes.
sense. Yeah.
So what is that? What is a real friendship?
I think that some of the things that you mentioned are really like, are really connected with, in the sense of, just being able to be. So,
Hmm.
you know, mm, I think it's hasn't been very often in my life where, and now I'm getting started to get emotional,
Hmm.
where I've just been able to just be who I am.
Yes.
Um, if that just means like calling a friend and saying, I'm just not feeling well today,
Yeah.
or just being able to, I don't know, also just be with some friends and not having to maybe even talk sometimes, just being, I think for me, that's like quite important. And I think I don't know, it's this, I feel like even in social settings, or um, with a majority of people, I'm always carrying some kind of heaviness or around me, and that I can't just be who I am.
Yes. What is your concern? So let's say you have a friend where we'll leave aside relationships, right? Because that's more
Mm-hmm.
complex. There's more at stake. But let's say there's a friend that you know more or less superficially, and there is maybe a potential for a deeper friendship, but it's not clear yet. What is your
Mm-hmm.
concern to, for example, call them up and say, I don't feel very well today?
I don't know if I feel as though it's a concern. I just feel just uncomfortable, I guess, doing that in some sense. It just doesn't
Hmm.
feel right. I don't know.
And it doesn't feel right because.
Um, I don't know. It's just like a feeling. Like it's like I get a physical feeling from it. Like I just
Hmm.
like I think in the past it's been friends that I really, I guess, trust, or we've gotten to that point where I just feel like it's okay to be open, that
Yeah.
I've been able to say that. But if it's some if it's a friendship that I'm still unclear as to where we are kind of in that friendship, I don't know. I guess there's just so many stages of what
Hmm.
friendship is, but
Yeah.
then it just I I just prefer, I guess, not to say anything.
Um, is the possibility of a rejection, is that one reason of the discomfort? So
Hmm.
that you would say something and then you would hear it in their voice that they would say, "Yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of busy now," or something like that. So they would not outright, say, "I don't want to hear that." But as people do, they have a way to kind of signal that they're not into that. Is that one of the reason, or what else is there that creates this discomfort?
No, I don't. I mean, I've never thought about it like that, but I don't think it stems from that. I think it stems
Hmm.
more from my own being, my own just maybe my own my own worries, I guess, with trust and just not being able to trust a lot of people.
Yes.
Maybe that just holds me back in some sense.
Hmm. In your mind, when you're about to express something like that, does it automatically mean to go into detail, or is it also a possibility to just open up in the sense that you let someone know that you're not, perfect and happy all the time, and to leave it at that, to have a walk without saying much, but just to share the openness, basically, and just this one revelation that you're not fine and if it's okay to just hang out. Is that a possibility within the confines of your trust?
Yeah, for me that feels okay.
Hmm.
Just to I guess leave it more general. Mm, yeah. I don't think I go into many details unless it's like someone that I really consider a good friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I understand. How much are you in touch with your well-being or not well-being? So let's say you're not having a good day,
Hmm.
and as you said, you need a lot of trust to open up to somebody about that. How much are you in touch with that?
Uh, I, can you explain further the question?
Hmm. So there are people who they don't know how to deal with their own not being well. So they habitually distract themselves, or they try to, they push themselves with kind of slogans like, "Oh, you're just gonna make it," or "Don't be a wuss," or "Don't be too
Mm,
soft," or so that it's difficult for them to endure this inner pressure, this inner tension, and they try to pacify themselves away from what is bothering them.
um, I don't I don't think that at this point I'm pushing things away. I think that
Hmm.
when I'm not feeling well, I do try to do things to sort of make myself feel better, or at least just bring the anxiety down.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to meditate every day and try to journal just so I can get some of those feelings or thoughts out, not hold on to them. But I guess in your question, I also wonder how much am I supposed to dive into the subjects?
Mm-hmm.
Because in some sense, I think if I go maybe too deep into it, then I'm not able to really function throughout the day because
Yeah.
I feel too emotional.
Yeah.
So I think maybe some of the times I'm just hitting maybe the top layer,
Mm-hmm.
like an example for maybe when I'm journaling and then, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I totally understand that. And again, we are kind of stuck in the sense that it's difficult to know exactly what the right amount is for oneself, right?
Yeah.
And this is true for you, and it's true for many other people, or most of them. When kind of we try to keep it functional, is that too shallow? Would it be better to take care more of things? But I also know people who, on a regular basis, destabilize themselves too much because they're too attached to the idea, no, I have to go deep. I
Right.
have to kind of bring up everything and then somehow it will resolve and I will be free of it. But in fact, they're not. And in fact, they're weakening themselves because it's so challenging for the system to deal with very problematic emotions and memories.
Yeah.
So they're not doing better because of this strategy. And it's a too simple application of what just sounds like a good rule of yes, go deep, bring out everything. So I think a more sustainable guideline is that we need to be strong in order to able to face difficult emotions and difficult feelings and difficult past events. And uh, often enough, we need to first stabilize ourselves to become stronger so that we have enough strength to go deeper. So in that, I sense that, and it sounds like you have done work on yourself
Yeah.
well enough to have already an intuition for this dynamic, right? That it's
Yeah.
that there is a healthy there's a healthy range within this whole big spectrum, and this kind of experience comes from making mistakes and slipping up by being too shallow for too a long time, and then realizing that things come back again and again. Then, on the other hand, to go too deep and to see that it didn't do good as well. So that is something that I appreciate that you have already learned from your experience, that to stay within that range. But again, we never know exactly if we just hit the spot.
Yeah.
Currently, where do you feel you err rather? Do you stay too safe, or do you destabilize yourself too much? Where are you right now?
I think I've kind of learned when I can go a bit deeper and when I have to just kind of stay in this safe zone.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that I'm also at that point um, where I can say that it's okay to just be at the place I am.
Mm. Yes.
Just have some like acceptance
Yes.
for whatever is coming,
Hmm.
and acceptance of, okay, I don't think I can go any further, or acceptance for, okay, I'm feeling like maybe I need to look at some old patterns and
Mm.
you know.
How do you strengthen yourself when you see that you are too weak, when events either from the outside or tensions from the inside kind of threaten your mental integrity too much, and you want to counteract that? How do you strengthen yourself?
I think doing breathing techniques,
Mm.
this has really helped kind of, is, I think when I'm at the points where I'm very anxious, like that I am not able to eat because my anxiety is just like, it's
Mm.
pretty much eating me, for to say that. So I just don't get hungry, and
Yeah.
I'm constantly feel like I'm just on edge. I think that I have to really look at trying to bring my kind of nervous system, I guess, to calm it down. I
Hmm.
think breathing really helps. Um, Definitely the meditating, the journaling. I just restarted actually just a month ago. That's something that I had left behind for quite a bit time.
Mm.
Um, Trying to force myself, I guess, to go on walks and be outside, because I normally, when I'm not feeling great, I just don't like to go outside.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to be around people, even if it's just seeing them around in the street. Um, Trying to do some form of like physical activity. Usually for me, it's yoga.
Mm.
I've been doing more like Kundalini yoga, which is, I think, helping me kind of move around that energy in me.
Mm.
I think these are all like techniques I've learned like along the way of like how to kind of make myself feel better and bring, I guess, my energy, my frequency up. Um, I mean, it doesn't come easy. I kind of have to like make myself do it. And can I say that a lot of the times I feel great after? No,
Yeah.
but I'm able to like, you know, not fall deep into those kind of, mm, those areas where I'm not functional, where I'm not
Yes.
eating, so.
Yes. So,
Mm-hmm.
as still challenging as it sounds, but again, I'm glad to hear that you have picked up self-managing techniques and
Mm-hmm.
you're not helpless in those situations, but you know that some things are rather good for you. And actually, the things that you mentioned are things that I would recommend to do
Mm-hmm.
people as well, to leave the house, to become physically active, to exert oneself in sport, be it, something more um, or running and tennis or whatever it is, or something more yoga related,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and to do all those breathing, meditating, reflecting, journaling things. These it's not per accident, I think, that you adopted these techniques, because they do have an effect.
Yeah.
I would like to see if we can add some more possibilities to that and go a
Mm-hmm.
little bit deeper for that into your mind. You uh, brought up more in the other context with other people, you brought up the topic of judgment. I'm
Mm-hmm.
interested in where self-judgment comes in which situations, in which contexts do you experience a self-judgment that goes beyond a healthy correction of one's thoughts and actions, but seems to have a spin that is more destructive and continues as a negative energy within you?
I think the judgment and the self-criticisms are always there, but I don't think they manifest themselves as in like I'm constantly saying to myself bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like constantly I'm saying, oh, you look ugly. I'm giving examples, or
Yeah.
or you're doing this wrong. Or I think for me, it's just a constant feeling
Mm-hmm.
of that the judgment is always there. It's in me. It's just, I feel it more, I think, in a heaviness of my
Mm-hmm.
own personal being. Things just don't feel right. I don't know if that.
Yes. I would like to hear more
Mm-hmm.
from it because it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem to be articulate yet.
Yeah.
It's something like
Mm-hmm.
a mist, like a mood that influences so many
Mm-hmm.
other concrete things that come up in your mind, but doesn't have yet a distinct voice.
Mm-hmm.
Can you verbalize more what it wants, or what it says, or how it sees things, or how it sees you?
I think I'd have to describe it in the sense that I'm always seeing like the glass half empty, not half full, or
Mm-hmm.
that I'm constantly seeing things wrong wherever I go. And that's not like, oh, this is, I don't know, could be, I don't know. Hmm.
If I may,
Mm-hmm.
I sense some sort of a sadness that things have not worked out in your life. Does that fit?
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
So that a new situation comes up, and then this voice is kind of sad because its estimate is this again will not work out. This opportunity is again not for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you in this feeling right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you bring it more to the foreground?
Yeah, hmm. I just feel like in this part of my life, um and having really tried to get, I guess, to change the direction and of how I wanted my life to be. I think again I'm in this like stage where I'm just very unhappy with so many of like, I guess, the elements that make my life.
Hmm.
And for instance, work, and I mean, I've brought up, I guess, the friendship situations, and not completely content in my living situation. And
Mm.
um, yeah, I guess there isn't really one thing at this moment that I can say, oh, okay, that's actually fitting. That's actually feels right.
Yes. What is
Yeah.
missing? It feels like this part of you, this voice, is waiting for a thing to happen so that it can absorb it, so that it can say, oh, okay, finally.
Gosh, yeah, I think this is like what is the problem? Like there's just like there is just that whatever form it is, I don't know. It's just that I can't get through it. I can't get over it. I can't get under it. I can't
Hmm.
just it's like there, but I'm like been trying for so long to do all of these things that should make me feel better.
Yes. Which to me shows that it's inside, that what you're waiting for is not something that needs to happen outside.
No, and I think maybe that's the biggest kind of frustration and sadness, and is that I just feel like I've been trying for so long to do all
Mm.
these things that I'm supposed to do to somehow get through this,
Yeah.
or figure it out, and it's like I don't know what else to kind of do. Like
Yes. And that
I
is,
just feel, yeah, I just feel a bit lost, I guess.
yes, which is enormously frustrating, right? When you, I mean, as I understood already, you did a lot in the past, and you tried basically the tools that are available uh, that we can pick up, right?
Yeah.
Um, when I ask you, what would it mean for you to have love inside of you? Does that sound like an antidote to what you feel, to this sadness and helplessness? So, not from somebody, not that someone comes into your life and loves you, but the quality of love.
Maybe I just don't know what that is.
Right.
I don't know, because the kind of love that I was shown of growing up, and I guess what my parents provided, I don't really consider love. So I don't really maybe understand what it means.
Hmm. Yeah. So there are two parts of that, right? One is to recognize it, first of all, and then to cultivate it either in relationships or foremost within myself.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, when do we encounter something that we feel is a rightful candidate for this feeling? It's such a vague formula and something that people seem to have in their life. But when I don't recognize it, it might feel like I don't know, it's a cliche or an illusion or some fantasy, or how would I recognize it? So it is the right question. What 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 would it need to have, this quality of love, so that your heart would be able to absorb it in a, you know, in a light and an open and in a spacious way.
I don't really know.
Hmm. Yes. I mean, a simple way to go about it is, and I try to kind of to continue to see it from your perspective, is that it's the opposite of the heaviness that you feel now. If it's something of value, it should be light, both in the sense of weight, but also in the quality of vision, that it's something that is bright, that lifts my heart up, if you want, or I physically feel kind of bright and energetic. Uh, and it needs to have the quality of no barriers, in the sense that it kind of sneaks into my experience of myself, first of all, and then also the way that I experience people, situations, the world surrounding me. Something like I like to call it a good virus. It just spreads, has
Yeah.
this quality of spreading. And the question then comes up, how do I contribute to that?
Mm-hmm.
And one way to go about it is to assume that without knowing it, I have built up barriers within myself. One very clear barrier is self criticism that many people
Mm-hmm.
have, right? So when I do on a habitual basis, so not how should I improve what I, the way that I delivered this work thing, so next time I do it better, not in that sense, but to really look down on myself, or to put it in more concrete terms, sometimes you said it doesn't voice itself so much in words, but sometimes people have that very specific criticism comes up that often even resembles things that parents have said
Yeah.
in the past. That this kind of not acceptance, you should have done better.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you so stupid to do it like this? Why did you fall into this trap? Why didn't you know better? Often it comes with these derogatory kind of atmosphere that might not have even been the purpose of how parents said it in the past, but certainly for the sensitive children's mind, they had no other way than to take it as a full blow against themselves, against
Mm-hmm.
their being there, to the extent that they would wish they would disappear because it's just, I cannot take it. And children have very little possibilities to protect themselves against a judgment value like this. So they internalize it. And as
Yeah.
they grow up, they use it for the lack of better knowledge in order to progress. They push themselves with slogans like these, to push themselves to become better, to, perform, excel, or develop a certain mask in social situations, because they start from a place of, as I am today is not acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be someone else,
Yeah.
which of course always stays an illusion, because the part of me that is not accepting me always travels with me. That is never dissolved. It's not
Yeah.
that once I've achieved this thing, or I have this friend, or I'm in a relationship, or I experience this and that, this voice says, okay, I've done my job. It comes from a situation that was not resolved in the past. You're not good enough. And this situation was not resolved in the past. So this voice that is internalized remains abstract and never satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes on. It's a self-perpetuating demand without the possibility of satisfaction. So this is just one example of a barrier, the self-judgment.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also other barriers, the barrier of anxiety, for example,
Mm-hmm.
where I think that to have a certain experience is too damaging. So I erect this barrier to protect myself. Right. So there are certain kind of barriers and qualities, and I would like to ask you, uh, and of course you don't have to have all the knowledge already there, but what do you sense? What are the kind of barriers that keep you from having a kind of a feeling that expands within you, something, a positive quality, a loving quality? What are those barriers?
I think in some sense, control. Think
Hmm.
that um, yeah, I'm possibly just staying in my comfort zone. I don't know what I guess that is just mm, just always thinking of like the worst things first, I guess.
Hmm. Okay. Yes. And how is
Or
that
always
protective?
Mhm.
How is that protective?
Oh, because
Making
then
that space for you.
you're not oh, what's the word? Disillusioned, disappointed.
Yes. Yes. So the disappointment was painful in the past, and
Hmm.
then to erect a barrier that keeps me from being disappointed
Hmm.
is a measure of self-protection.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also, I mean, as much as I am trying to achieve in some sense happiness and love, what I have to say that possibly my comfort zone is the opposite. Is because I'm so much more comfortable being sad, maybe, even though in some sense, I mean, I don't like it, but it just seems to be that I'm comfortable with it.
Yes. So this is very important. Can you describe that in other words?
Um, I mean, it's just a I guess it's just all related in the sense of also just that control. The control is controlling myself to be in the state of unhappiness and sadness because it's what is comfortable to me, even though
Mhm.
I'm so trying to not be there. Just
Right. Yes. And how is that comfortable? How can I understand that when you say it's better for me to be in control and unhappy, makes me
Mhm.
comfortable rather than dropping that? How can I understand that?
Can you explain again? Sorry.
Yes. So, as you described, it gives you a certain sense of control
Hmm.
to be unhappy or to see the negative in things or to expect a negative outcome in order to protect yourself from frustration. So, I'm using disillusionment as a general perspective on things in order to stay in control, and that keeps me comfortable. It keeps me in control. So, what I'm afraid of is to not be in control.
Hmm.
what happens if you're not in control?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Hmm. Yes. So control is we have to understand it in a different sense than we usually take
Mhm.
control. It's a grip on oneself. It's a vessel, right? Because if I have a glass of water, the glass is the vessel, is the control, and if it breaks, there's not knowing where the water goes. It can go anywhere. Right? And
Yeah.
I'm really worried about where it could go if I don't have a say in the shape of it and the grip on it.
I think it's I mean, I guess I just have to, no, have to. I want to maybe go explain what's going on in my mind, and this is control what I'm feeling. It is just because I was with a parent that was maybe so destructive in a sense that I didn't know what their would behavior would be from one moment to the other.
Mm,
That the only thing that I had kind of control of was control over myself and how I was going to react to it, because I had to take care of myself.
yes, yes,
So the control always had to be there. I was constantly listening for sounds or
yes,
vibrations or things that I then knew how I was going to have to react.
yes. And that makes so much sense, right? Because it comes from a time when the question why to control myself had a very concrete answer.
Yeah.
It was directly linked to self-protection
Yeah.
because you had to look out for yourself. And then again, you internalized it and it became a general guidebook, a general rule. I need to protect myself. And in this anxious way, right, I need to watch out. I need to continue to expect something bad happening. Right.
Yeah.
What I would
Yeah.
like you to, please,
Mhm.
sorry.
No, no, I was just going to say, and I think that's just those self-protection now, I guess, models that I had learned are just not maybe are not needed now. But this just it's
Hmm.
just in so ingrained in my being that it's just
Yes,
I want to change it. I just don't really know how, I guess.
yes, yes. So I have a suggestion. Uh, this because it became a part of you, right? As you said,
Hmm.
it will not just go away.
Yeah.
Too much of your sense of being and making sure that you go on as the person that you have become is connected with this very general perspective of self-protection. So what I would ask you to do is to use an experimental setting to loosen the grip a little bit.
Hmm.
And exactly the things that you already do. And what I mean with that, and the journaling and the breathing
Okay.
and the meditation, so that it has a defined beginning and end point. And in the way that you prepare yourself for this, you commit yourself for opening up for this very specific time. You're already doing something unusual. When we meditate, we already try to open up in a certain way. When we want to calm
Hmm.
ourselves down or do some energetic work with breathing, we already are in somewhat an experimental mode, but we kind of got used to doing it in a certain way. But I would like to use this framework or these frameworks that you already have in order to
Hmm.
introduce two new qualities. Uh,
Okay.
one quality is to let go of the grip of the control of the concern. And to do it consciously, it will not come by itself, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you gently suggest it to your unconscious, right? And the second part is to find or generate a small speck of positivity and self-care and self-love. The things that you generally can uh, muster, right? Because I know that you want to be well, you want to take care of yourself. Otherwise, you wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
have had this journey where you learn so many, things and techniques and so on. To catch this intention of genuine self-care and self-love, as small as it is, right? Whatever size it has, and to expand on that and to take that as a seed to plant this intention for self-care into your mind and to focus on that in conjunction with loosening the grip uh, of disillusionment.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have a very precise understanding or a technical understanding of what it is, but just to take the suggestion and somehow say, okay, I will try to make it somehow, because this is as concrete as it is for now. I know that there is a speck of positivity within me of wishing myself well, taking care of myself, which is a positive, genuinely positive, maybe the most positive quality that you can have. I will take this quality, I will find it within myself, and I will seed it into the soil of my mind with this intention of self care.
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm doing this, I'm letting go of the pessimism, the self protection mode, the strong grip that I habitually have as much as I can. And I see where this goes. I will follow the lead of this seed to sprout and to flower. And I do this within the confines of this experimental time. And when it's over, whatever time you meditate, 10, 15, 20 minutes, or even longer, however long you do your breathing technique, after that it's over. And you go back to your normal ways. Because this self protection was necessary and it is part of you. And it cannot be, you know, made to just go away. It has very, very different needs uh,
Mm-hmm.
within your system. So this is a step-by-step process. Would you do that until the next time?
I think I'm having a bit confused of how I should do this. Is it just by saying a certain intention while I'm meditating,
You can.
or yeah,
Yes, you
okay.
can. You can do that. The important thing is not to do it mechanically. But
Mm-hmm.
you saying this starts with finding within yourself the intention to genuinely want to be well.
Okay.
I want to be well, and not to, don't think or feel it or intend it if you don't. But I know you have this already. This is why we have this conversation. This is why you have worked on yourself for the
Mm-hmm.
past years. So there is this quality within you. Find it, and then yes, you can. Once you have it, you can put it in words. You can use it as source of a mantra that you repeat. Uh, you can bring up very specific images of an energy that you love, or a quality that you love, or a person that you love, or a past event when it kind of you felt happy or joyful or taking care of yourself. So you can use all these means in order to strengthen this quality, this intention, right? But the only thing is it has to be genuine.
Okay. And you mean in the form of a feeling? Is that what you mean?
Uh, Even if it's not a feeling, sometimes people have a problem with finding a feeling, but if you
Yeah.
can find the intention, this is the important thing.
Okay.
An intention is something that I know. It doesn't have kind of this more tangible quality of a feeling, right? Where it sense something in my heart or in my body or something. It might not be that.
Okay.
Uh, but it's more important that I have an intention and that it feels true. I
Okay.
want to be well, for example, and see where it
Okay.
goes. No pressure,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I will try.
So that it is for today. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much.